and it really got quiet. It was in the winter. No windows were open, and it had candles lit, like I said, and I had my eyes on curtains. John gently squeezed my hand, and he told me, "You feel that?" And I said, "No, what?" He said, "It's the Holy Spirit." And, I mean, as soon as that came out of his mouth, I felt something go through me. But the candle never flickered. The curtains didn't move, but I felt a wind. And I felt this overwhelming sense of peace. I mean, you could have lit a cherry bomb in my lap, and I wouldn't have jumped. I've never experienced any drug or anything that was that calm, or well, I've never experienced it since. But I guess what my question is because I follow the church, or I try to, but I always use my own thought, my own mind, and I reason things out. But I mean, some people say, "Oh, Catholics, you're going to hell because that's the church of the devil," and all of that stuff. But I try not to judge people. But I guess my question is that I guess if the Catholic Church is going down the wrong road, if that was the Holy Spirit that grabbed me, then I can't be too far off the right track, huh?
Let me address that first, Jeffrey.
Okay.
Yes, I don't think much of the Catholic Church, but you know what? Most of the people in Kansas are going to go to hell, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to go to hell. It's the same way with the Catholic Church. A lot of lost people there. Same way with the Baptist Church. All religions have, I believe, mostly lost souls. But that doesn't mean that they're all lost. That's just insane to make that assumption, and I recognize and admire your experience. I believe it was real. I've had similar experiences, and it's real to you. It was real to me. We can only share it with other people, but you know what? When it comes down to it, they do not know until they have the experience. And that's why I actually believe that personal experiences, have more significance than facts. And the reason why is we can go and we can grab as many facts as we want about any subject, present them to the whole world, and it doesn't mean anything. Because people believe whatever they're going to believe anyway. What do you think, Jeffrey?
Right.
Oh, yeah, just tell them the fact that there's no evidence that a plane hit the Pentagon and see how much people believe you. Or they'll still believe the magic bullet and the Kennedy assassination. Yeah, forget it. But as far as what the caller, this is amazing what this caller's saying. Down in Louisiana, great place, by the way. It's the whole idea of there being a quick trigger that triggers a holy experience. This has been something I've just absolutely been obsessed with in a lot of my studies lately, in this new film I'm making called Dark Ecstasy. And the whole foundation of a lot of areas of Zen Buddhism involve this, where there's an environmental trigger that just tips someone over the edge, and then they have a holy experience. And then, of course, on the other side, the dark Illuminati masters, they have the same thing but in an inverted way, of course, with their religion of horror. But they also rely on environmental cues. This is one of the big things that's almost never discussed by people anywhere, is that, the quest in religion and spirituality is the experience, the ecstasy, and it's usually almost always triggered by all of a sudden you hear the birds sing in the forest, or you see the sunset, all of a sudden you just look and see the sky is covered with pinks and oranges and yellows, and you're just, I was at the, doing something with my daughters today, and all of a sudden just looked into a clear pool of water where these fish were, and all of a sudden I just instantly was changed, unbelievably, towards the mystical, towards the divine. It just because I just all of a sudden looked into that clear pool of water where I was with my daughter. So this is a huge, amazing point. I totally believe him because I know exactly what he's talking about. I've been there.
Yeah.
Hey, one more
Brian.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
But, I have 4 children, and I get in the same habit. Call them kids. Do you have any clue as to why we call our kids our children goats? I mean, a kid is a goat, right? Is that the language play? Are they playing with our language again? Is it just the slang that developed, or?
Probably is somehow. I mean, we go to school and we get a degree, just like the Masons get a degree. Then you go to commencement, which is, you wear that little black hat that people have talked about, same as We're tricked in so many ways. It probably means something, but I don't know. Do you, John, know anything specific?
Yeah. I think much of our language is coded, double meanings, but I think it's also done that way to do the reverse speech, the backmasking kind of stuff too. But kids, you know what, Brian, thanks, because I had never thought of that. It's so obvious. But that was a great call. Hey, let me make a couple of points about the Old Testament God that I would like our listeners to consider. The one of them is, I've been given this analogy for a quarter century. I hope it doesn't come off too lame, but as a parent, imagine that I have two young children, maybe 3 and 5 years old, and I come to them and I have a shotgun. It's loaded, and the safety's off, and I put it down on a coffee table. Now, along with it, I also put food on the other side of the coffee table, and I tell them not to bother the gun. But I don't say anything about the other treat, right? The food. And I leave them there for an extended period of time. Now, would I be much of a parent? This is precisely an analogy of what the Old Testament God does in the Garden of Eden. He has 2 trees, and he tells them to leave one of them alone. And he says, don't eat of it, don't go there, but yet he leaves it. Now, this is apparently, why would he entice his humanity, his creation, with such a test? I mean, is he incapable of uprooting this terrible tree and throwing it away? Apparently not. Is he testing him? Why is he testing him? Why is he even having it there? If it's so terrible that this tree be there, it's just very interesting that he just walks away and gives them a warning. Now, I know a lot of you Christians are saying, we're supposed to listen to everything he says and do exactly as he says. I disagree. And then when they do eat of the tree, here's the real catch. There's a couple of them coming up, folks. He then says, you cannot eat of the second tree, which was the tree of life. Okay? And then he puts, I believe it's a cherub, isn't it, with a flaming sword to protect it. And so it'd be like me, once my daughters picked up the shotgun and shot up the house, I then put traps around the other gift, which is food. And now they can't eat. It's just a very weird thing. Now, the big trick, and I want you guys to think about this during the break, because I doubt that there's very many of you that can swallow this, and it's going to probably get me in a lot of trouble here. But the tree that he told them not to eat of, do you recall what the tree was? What did he refer to the tree? What does it represent? If you're a literal interpretator or a metaphoric interpretator of the Bible, it really doesn't matter at this point. What was that tree that he did not want Adam and Eve to eat from? Do you recall, Jeff?
Well, are you talking about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Now, why would a good God not want his people to have a conscience?
If that's exactly what that means. I mean, maybe, that is interesting.
That is exactly what it means, Jeffrey. That is the exact definition of a conscience, knowing the difference between right and wrong. And so you have a God, or someone that is claiming to be God, that puts a tree, and I believe it's metaphoric, puts a tree in the garden